The Kolukkumalai tea estate set on the border of Kerala and Tamil Nadu is the highest tea estate in the world. Nestled in the Western Ghats, the peaks here are tall, craggy with steep climbs and rocky trails. Getting up here is not easy. You can trek up the mountain or you could take a 4x4. The views are spectacular, but so are the drops. This is not a climb for the faint of heart.
Which sounds like an invitation to us. Meet the Tata Punch, one of the smallest SUVs on sale in India right now, sitting below the popular compact SUV segment. They say you need a proper 4x4 to attempt this climb. We say challenge accepted.
The past few years have seen a remarkable turnaround in fortunes of Tata Motors, and today they are the largest SUV maker in the country. The Safari, Harrier, Nexon and Punch together making for a solid SUV portfolio across segments. The Punch is the newest of the lot, the smallest of the lot, also the most affordable and the fastest SUV in India to hit the 100,000 sales mark. It is an SUV that punches above its weight.
This entire category, compact SUVs, mini SUVs, they're just hatchbacks with a lot of makeup and jacked up ground clearance. Does the Punch break away from that trend? Can the Punch do things that only proper SUVs can? No better way of finding out than putting it to the ultimate test.
The trail up to Kolukkumalai is just 17 kilometers long, but it is a super tricky one, rutted and rocky, with extremely tight hairpin bends and even steeper climbs. Forget two-wheel drive cars and SUVs attempting the climb. The locals know they will break down and do not even allow them to be driven up here. Only 4x4s are allowed, and that too driven by local drivers who have experience of this trail. We've had to take special permits to drive the Punch, and the locals are keeping a very keen watch on our progress. They are probably practicing the Malayalam version of I told you so.
இந்த வண்டி வந்து மேலே போகிறதுக்கு வந்து சான்ஸ் கம்மி தான். ஏன்னா இது வந்து க்ரௌண்ட் கிளியரன்ஸ் வந்து ரொம்ப கம்மி. அடியெல்லாம் ரொம்ப டேமேஜ் ஆயிடும். டிஃபிகல்ட்டான ரோடு. சின்ன வண்டியெலாம் போகாது. ஜீப் வந்து உங்களுக்கு வந்து லீப் வந்து ஃபஸ்ட் பொசிஷன் வந்து கொஞ்சம் எக்ஸ்டெண்ட் பண்ணி வச்சுருக்கனால ஜீப்பெல்லாம் அழகாக போகும். இந்த மாதிரி கார் போகாது.
நான் கொழுக்குமலைக்கு ஜீப் ஓட்டுற டிரைவரு. நீங்கள் காணிக்கிற அந்த வண்டி இந்த ரோட்டில் மேலே ஏறி வராது.
அது வந்து ஆஃப் ரோடு. இந்த வண்டி போனால் அடி கிரௌண்ட் ஃப்ளோர் தட்டும். ஏறி போயால் ஏறி போகும்போது குறைச்சி குத்தி மட்டும் இப்போ இறங்கும்போது பயங்கர குத்தி மாட்டோம். சைடு கிட்டே அடி தட்டும்.
Look, these guys drive up here every day. They know the track better than anyone else. And when they say this is going to be tough, it will definitely be tough. That's where we're heading to. That's the Kolukkumalai peak. It's around 7.5 kilometers from here. And from here on, the metal road ends and the serious hardcore stuff is going to begin. So let me tell you about the trail that we are on. Now it rained last evening, so it is a little damp in patches. And this trail is all made up of rocks. So wet rocks don't really result in a lot of traction. So here's where the 187 mm of ground clearance really comes in handy. Every extra millimeter is a godsend. It's also where you need a tough vehicle, a proper tough vehicle, because the Punch is getting a proper punch out here. It's getting punched. Oh God, like I'm getting punched. I'm getting properly punched around. It's got these, wow, we even have like a axle twister out here. Okay, through, not touching. Actually, here's where the control that you get with a manual transmission also comes properly handy. While doing some research on the Punch, I actually came across quoted approach and departure angles for the Punch. And that just shows how confident Tata Motors are with the Punch. So with this 1.2 litre petrol engine, we got 87 bhp, 115 Newton meters of torque, a 5-speed manual gearbox, lightweight, obviously monocoque, front wheel drive. And that's what we're going to utilize to get up to the highest tea plantation in the world. I'm also getting to grips with the Punch. Obviously, I haven't driven the Punch in this kind of environment before. I don't think anybody would have. When we accept challenges, we really accept some insane in the membrane challenges. In fact, it's a bit silly doing what we're doing. But then that's what we're here for, to put the car to its ultimate test so that you know what it can do. You don't have to do this. I don't recommend that you do it either. But you know what it is capable of. Fair disclaimer, I have done a fair bit of off-roading. I have done a fair bit of rallying. So I do have some amount of knowledge how to drive cars, SUVs in challenging terrain. And we have a crew with us who are spotting. So all the difficult obstacles, they are spotting for me. So I am not driving blind. And that's the important thing when you go off-roading. Never drive blind. Always have a spotter. Always have backup. Because you never know what can happen. And safety always has to be your number one priority. Have fun, but do it in a safe manner. And also we have to be sympathetic to our SUVs. This is tough. You don't want to break anything, because if you break anything out here, A, you're going to block the entire track, so the locals are going to scream at you. Okay, we need a bit of momentum for this. Yes. You have to exercise mechanical sympathy to make sure that your car lasts through this kind of terrain. And of course, what goes up has to come down. Tomorrow we have to get down also. So we need the car in tip-top shape for our descent. So I don't know if you remember the Sandapku launch film that the Tata guys put out. We also went up to Sandapku, and that was tough. It was beautiful. It had all the elements of adventure. That was the first season of our Challenge Accepted series. This is the second season, and if you ask me, this is even more challenging. I'm getting a solid workout, and because I'm having to concentrate so much, my brain is hurting. Gotta focus, make sure the wheels are in the right place so that we can get whatever little traction is available and keep motoring ahead. That it has come this far is super impressive. I have to point out that the suspension is properly robust. The chassis, you can gauge the torsional rigidity by the amount of stress that we are putting it through. The dampers, they aren't getting hot and then soft, it's not bottoming out. And if anything were to bottom out, it will 200% bottom out here. But we are all good. See, that's the problem over here, that if you go too slowly, the tires just slip over the rocks and they spin up. So we have to carry a bit of momentum and get it over those big ruts, the big sort of humps in the road. But this is spectacular. We of course did our research. We knew that Kolukkumalai was a challenge. That's the reason why we came here. But none of us did an actual recce of this track. We got here this afternoon and straight up we are shooting. We do have a guide with us who knows where we are going, not going fully blind. But this is the first time I am coming up here, and I'm shocked by what I can actually put this little thing through. Some more momentum to get over those steps and ridges. And see, this is the kind of terrain we are on.
But But just as the Punch was getting comfortable and covering ground on the climb, things were about to change.
So we've come all the way up here, but the fact is that this is actually a public track. All these 4x4s are taking tourists up there to the sunrise and sunset viewpoints, also to the Kolukkumalai tea estate. And what's happened is the jeeps coming down, they've told us that there's a bit of a traffic jam because 180 jeep permits have been issued today. It is the weekend, so there's a lot of tourist traffic. And because of the traffic jam up ahead, and also it's starting to rain, the clouds have come down, starting to rain. So they've told us to just park up out here because this will go, but it will have to crawl up there and will cause a bit of a tailback of jeeps over here. So they've asked us to park up. So we're going to be responsible citizens, park up the Punch out here and walk the last couple of 100 meters and check out those views that we've come through this entire ordeal for. The views are to die for, and to think that the Punch, it brought us all the way up here. Honestly, I didn't think that the Punch would make it up here. The locals, they definitely thought that the Punch would not make it up, but it proved us wrong. What a capable little SUV the Punch has proven to be. And our story doesn't end there, because what comes up has to go down. We might have gravity on our side, but these slopes are tricky. You need low ratio, you need very good brakes. If you misjudge a corner, you're gonna go down 100 feet. But this mini SUV has proved us all wrong. It's made the locals put their foot in their mouth, because this has come up. This has done things that only proper SUVs can do. A hatchback on stilts? No chance. This is from Tata Motors' legacy of making proper SUVs, and this mini SUV can go places where only proper SUVs can go. So now we head down, but first we finish that cup of tea that we've come all the way up for. And spoiler alert, it's not all that great. Tarmac.